For a doll, the guy does a lot of damage. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 Chucky Kills. Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we're looking at our favorite slays perpetrated by the psychopathic doll throughout the entire series, and ranking them based on a variety of factors, including their creativity and importance to the story. Number 10. Jill, Curse of Chucky. Sometimes all Chucky needs is a bucket of water and a bit of electricity. After some intense buildup, which sees Chucky crawling on the floor and popping up behind Jill, she finally notices him standing at the foot of her bed. He decides to forego an extravagant death, as he simply kicks over a bucket of water and lets Jill's laptop do the rest. It's a relatively tame kill compared to some of the others found throughout the series, but the editing, lighting, and music make for a tense scene, rather than an overly violent one. Welcome back to the world of horror, Chucky.
Women. Can't live with them. Period.
Number 9. Mr. Sullivan, Child's Play 3.
Hey, wanna play? Hey, wanna play?
Chucky just loves to play with his victims. Well, he is a doll after all. This drawn-out murder starts when Chucky spills a bunch of marbles, which causes Sullivan to fall on his ass. The doll then scares Sullivan with various toys before appearing out of nowhere and smashing him over the head with a golf club. Next, he throws darts into his back and hand before finally strangling him with a yo-yo. Yeah, the whole scene is a little goofy, but it's all in good fun. And it opens the relatively crappy third installment on a high note.
Just like the good old days.
Number 8. Wire Decapitation, Seed of Chucky.
Listen, if you want them to work, I'm gonna have to take them apart.
The series definitely took a more comedic turn with Bride and Seed, but that doesn't mean they neglected the gloriously violent kills. They're just, a little sillier. Okay, a lot sillier. After Tony Gardner discovers that the Tiffany doll has a spine, both she and Chucky share a kill by decapitating him with piano wire.
It's up.
His head flies at the camera like a 3D movie, and Chuck and Tiff make out while his corpse spews blood behind them. The movie clearly does not take itself very seriously, and while some may lament the gloriously campy scenes, others, like us, love them. Number 7. Dr. Ardmore, Child's Play. And we're going right back to horror. While the first installment wasn't as gory as the others, it is arguably the most horrifying of them all, thanks to scenes like this. After Andy is met and restrained by Dr. Ardmore, Chucky stabs him in the leg before fitting him with an electroshock therapy device. He then, fries the doctor until his mouth and eyeballs bleed. This is all done in front of Andy, and all he can do is hopelessly stagger away while watching the man sizzle. It's a hopelessly bleak scene, but those are the ones that make for good horror movies. Number 6. Chief Warren Kincaid, Bride of Chucky.
Who's there?
We don't know why John Ritter agreed to be in this movie, but at least his death scene kicks ass. After Tiffany tells Chucky to make like Martha Stewart and improvise, because stabbing is so 1970s, he rigs up some nails to the van's glove compartment. When Kincaid notices the nails, Tiff gives the order, and Chucky shoots the nails into his face, killing him instantly.
Now!
As if that wasn't good enough, Chucky then makes a not-so-subtle Hellraiser reference, which every horror fan should immediately recognize and love.
Why does that look so familiar?
Bride does tread into camp territory, but scenes like this proved that the series still had some good horror gas left in the tank.
What do we do with him?
I don't know. What would Martha Stewart do?
Number 5. Factory Worker, Child's Play 2.
I hate kids.
Chalk this one up to sheer stupidity. After a machine breaks down, a factory worker is forced to fix it. Unluckily for him, Chucky is there, complete with a newly fashioned knife arm that he uses to slice the guy across the cheek. He's then strapped into the doll-making machine and given a new pair of doll eyes. Okay, this death is cool and all, but shouldn't this guy have shut down the machine before sticking his face in there? That just screams unsafe work practices. Regardless, it's still a horrifying way to go, and the resulting image is nightmare-inducing. Number 4, Tiffany, Bride of Chucky. Hey, souls don't just transfer themselves, you know. Chucky decides to kill Tiffany so that he can shunt her soul into a doll. And he decides to do this while she's in the bathtub. The kill begins with Chucky rushing in with a knife while screaming like a banshee, only for Tiffany to kick him square in the face. Despite her stellar defense, Chucky succeeds in pushing a TV into the bathtub, which electrocutes and kills Tiffany. The scene is a nice blend of horror and comedy, and it perfectly captures what makes Bride such a unique entry in the series. Number 3, John, Child's Play.
Hi!
Chucky makes a horrifying discovery when he learns he can bleed, despite being a doll. So he goes to John for answers. After John refuses to give up information, Chucky tortures him by using a voodoo doll to break his leg and arm. We don't know why John has a voodoo doll of himself, but whatever.
Sure, how do you want it? Broken leg?
The combination of horrific sound design and grotesque visuals is sure to make anyone wince in their chairs. But the brutality isn't over yet. After learning what he needs to know, Chucky stabs John in the heart, which goes to show what a truly awful monster he is.
So long, John.
Number 2, Miss Kettlewell, Child's Play 2.
And you think this is funny?
I didn't do that.
After Miss Kettlewell gives Andy detention and throws Chucky in the closet, Chucky has a hissy fit and relentlessly bangs on the door. After a very tense minute of investigating, Kettlewell is stabbed by Chucky and theatrically collapses into a bunch of desks. Chucky then beats her to death with a yardstick, complete with dramatic cues from the music and progressive zoom-outs from the camera. Jeez, we couldn't imagine being beaten to death with a yardstick by a doll, but then again, we don't really want to. Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions.
Presto, you're dead. Amazing, isn't it?
Number 1, Maggie, Child's Play.
How did that happen?
Despite its relative straightforwardness, Maggie's death is easily the best murder of the entire series. The process begins with Maggie anxiously searching the apartment, and it ends when Chucky smacks her in the face with a hammer.
I'm scaring myself half to death.
It causes her to crash through the window and fall onto a car below. The scene is suitably tense, and the effects of Maggie falling and slamming into the car still look great 30 years later. This is also Chucky's first kill of the entire series, so it deserves points for that alone. Sometimes the simplest deaths are the most memorable.
Move it back. There's nothing to see.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.